Hello and welcome to the show. Now, you guys wanted to see me do a rally car build on the Mini Cooper, so I'm going to give it a try. I will be honest, I'm quite frankly terrified of building this vehicle for good reason. I will be honest. Front-wheel drive to all-wheel drive conversions on cars do tend to make them quite twitchy. This tiny wheelbase on a very fast rally course with, well, S1 class is likely to be quite powerful. This is a scary prospect of a car. It could be very fast. It could be very fast indeed because it's likely to have a huge power-to-weight ratio. It's whether we're going to be at all controllable with it that we're going to have to wait and see. Now, ooh. We get the sort of rally cage style thing on the front of the Mini. That's quite cool. But we are going to want the Forza Air Force? Downforce. Forza Aero. There we go. That was the word I was looking for. We want the downforce. Again, I'd love to have the tyre on the roof, but we need the downforce on this vehicle. And it's a shame that we can't have both. We shall have some rally mud flaps, though, because that is important. Or we're going to get rally lights. Fantastic news indeed. We've got many lights. We shall be most definitely able to see the tree we're about to hit into because the car is twitchy as anything. Tyres, we are of course going for the off-road compound tyres. Not going to have the biggest tyres on this car. 185 on the front and 205 on the rear. Not particularly large tyres. It is small and very light, so we might be able to get away with it a little bit. But again, I would prefer the bigger tyres, or as big air tyres as I can get. We'll come back to that actually once we've done engine. We will go through with brakes, suspension. Of course, we're wanting all of these parts on the vehicle because getting power in this isn't going to be a problem. Roll cage, try and give us some chassis rigidity, hopefully a little bit better handling, get some weight or some more weight out of the car. It only weighs 1,682 pounds. Now, as much as I want to use the standard engines in these cars when it comes to this series, I very highly doubt the Mini standard engine is going to get us up to the top of S1 class, so we are going to have to swap it. Now, our options are the 2-litre i4 or the 1.6-litre turbo rally engine. Now, I am tempted. I am tempted by the turbo rally engine, however, I equally know that the Mini will not get... I very highly doubt this Mini's going to get to the top of S1 class with the turbo rally engine in it because it only gets... In fact, we can go and have a look, can't we, while we are here because this is a nice, easy system on Horizon 3. Yeah, we can only get it halfway through S1 class. That does also scare me by the amount of power we're going to be getting in this car in S1 class. You see, often the little track cars have been getting away with, 350 odd horsepower, and that would be okay in the Mini. But we're going to be getting a lot more than 350 horsepower, which is scary in this. We have got the option turbocharging or supercharger. I think for this one we're going to go for the turbo. That centrifugal one seems pretty useless in comparison, because we're actually going to be needing to get plenty of power. Now, this engine is a little bit heavier than the standard engine that goes in the car, but it's going to be, well, miles powerful, and it is lighter than the Turbo Rally engine as well. I'm slightly surprised by that, because, well, the Turbo Rally engine, very much a purpose-built racing engine, but there we go. This is getting a scary amount of power in the Mini, and I suspect as we get more and more power, the PI doesn't quite go up as quickly because we're losing control. Basically, we are losing control. Oh, I should probably do gearbox before I forget, because that might help us out a little bit in all of this. We'll definitely want all of these parts, and there we can have the race diff on the car. We are almost at the top of the PI. This is a terrifyingly potentially fast prospect, I think. I mean, that's 40 horsepower that adds just 4 PI onto this vehicle. That is a concern to me in terms of drivability here. I don't even think we're going to get to the top of S1 class in all of this. Do we want any more power? More weight is actually going to be a good thing on the car. A bit more weight, a bit more stability. 719 horsepower. That is a lot in a Mini. This is likely to be wild. Now, whether it's going to be wildly fast or wildly out of control, I don't know. I'm leaning a lot more toward the wildly out of control part. We shall see. So it is off to the Reservoir Trail with this utterly crazy Mini. I'm going to get 3 runs through this course in an attempt to, well, try and beat the Ford Falcon. That is a time of 2:30.9. I think the bigger challenge will be keep the Mini pointing in the right direction. I did have to very quickly adjust the gear ratios because they were pretty much useless on the car, so it now should be it shouldn't buzz the limiter the entire way. Now we are going to have absolutely absurd levels of acceleration in this vehicle. There is no doubt about that. That's 150 miles an hour into the puddle there. But how we're going to do control-wise is kind of anyone's guess, really. It is... so far, it could have been worse. A little bit oversteery. The suspension, the way the car is leading about, it is looking up at the sky a lot. Brakes. Oh, it's nice under brakes, actually. Of course, the car weighing practically nothing is likely to be pretty good. Under braking down there. Now, will the back end stay in check through this sort of section? That is the big question. We probably don't want to play around with the water too much. Small, lightweight car, likely to get thrown off course. And the biggest fear of all, beside the sudden oversteer, is the bumps and the jumps and a flying lightweight Mini causing problems across them. We're fine. We are fine through there. In fact, this is not quite as terrifying as I expected. It doesn't quite want to swap ends as much as I thought it might. We're a little bit wide out over there. Good thing that tree is destructible, because that tree would have claimed many, many cars if it was not. Carry speed, very sideways. We have recovered that all back together again. Up towards this jump we go. Probably not going to be too much fun through the water. It could have been worse, actually. Could have been worse, but 109 miles an hour through that section. This Mini is balmy. It is just completely and utterly out of control around here, but it's working. Surprisingly, it is working quite well. Tip the car in, boot it, and we can just about keep control of the vehicle. That's an interesting line I'm taking. Not quite found myself out there before, but there we go. The Mini is exploring around this this course. We're really going to chuck it in here because we're not quite slowed down enough. Yeah, that's my bad. I was too late under brakes. I was pushing my luck a little bit too much. Second gear a tad too short for that segment. Now we have, this is where the Ford was so very good last time out. The Ford made up a lot of time on its rivals through this section, and this is where I think the Mini might struggle. Having the composure down here, a lot of cars who've struggled. Can a barely controllable Mini do better? I've had to have quite a few lifts down here. I've seen what line I am taking out here. Whoa! That was millimetres away from complete and utter disaster in the Mini as we round the final corner. I have to have a couple of goes at getting turned in. There we go. We're around. I got a crap ton of skill chain near enough the entire way through that course. A 2:40.7. Not a particularly amazing opening run from the Mini. However, could have driven a lot worse. So, we are looking at about a 10-second deficit between the Mini and the Ford. I'm not sure that's going to be able to be made up sometime. Yes, I was a little bit scruffy in various places on that opening run. But, 10 seconds when I didn't have any massive offs, I doubt is going to be catchable. That was very, very wild through turn 1. I don't think this car, even though it's not quite as twitchy and not quite as throw you immediately in the wall as I was expecting, I don't think we actually quite have the grip in some places. I can't throw this through the corners and carry the speed that I have been able to in some vehicles. It just doesn't have the grip or the composure. Oh, we very, very, very nearly fell off the bridge. We very, very nearly went exploring the lake there. Nothing has fallen off the bridge yet, but that was very nearly the first car to do it. I was expecting those to be solid trees as well, that we've managed to jump our way through. This thing is... it's crazy, but it's not quite the twitchy death machine that I expected. Like, this is not particularly composed. The Mini, it's going to go around. I've gathered it somehow kept that from completely spinning. The Mini, was a very famous rally car when it came to one rally, and that was at Monte Carlo. Everywhere else, not quite so good. And this course is very not much the Mini strong suit. This course is fast. This course is all medium and high-speed corners. We see it time and time again. cars that can maintain their speed through the corners are the ones that are going to do best. This does not have the control to maintain its speed through the corners on a very, very tight, twisty circuit where there is a lot of slow speed corners, a lot of acceleration out of corners being a significant factor. This would probably be quite fast because, well, when you have 700 horsepower, weigh this little, and all-wheel drive, you're going to be, basically. And yeah, this course not really to the Mini's liking. Water also not particularly to the Mini's liking, but there we go. Now we jump our way towards this final section. Not been the greatest of runs, this one, but if we can carry some good speed through here, perhaps we could have made up some time. I've just got a lift there. Oh, we brushed the tree. We just got away with that as we jump across the first of the biggest jumps, and there we go across the second. This time we're not out in the tree line. I have seen the time, though. We are not going quicker. This run spent too long faffing about, I think, early on, and we turn the final corner. I'm trying to put the power down out of there. There's just no grip in it whatsoever. Across the line we go. Not a better run. Not a better run. At 5 seconds slower that time out. We have got some work to be doing on this final run. So it is on to the final run with the Mini. There is, I think, possibly some time to be made up with this car. The big question is, how do you get to that time? I kind of want to be a little bit more cautious with the Mini. It's just too wildly out of control on the most part. But there is the fear that if you aren't being completely aggressive with the car, that with a circuit like this, where there is a lot of higher speed corners, you're just going to end up being slow and lose time from that. So there is, I think, a very, very fine line to tread in this car if you want to be getting a quick time, and that is a difficult one to stay on when the car is behaving so almost erratically. We can get away with bouncing off that fence on the outside. I'm okay with that. And then we've got the bumps. The bumps to worry about. They haven't been as awful as they could have been. In general, my fear of this car is being, I say unfounded, not quite. It is still an absolutely, oh god, almost impossible car to drive very quickly down here, but it could have been worse. It's just stuck out wide. There's nothing I can do to get my car back to the inside there. However, it has remained under control as we now soar through the air. It is a huge jump. A little bit bouncy on the landing, but there we go. I've tried to get the car turned through there. That was so close to the trees, but it has got away with it. Now we run up towards the water splash, and through here with far more ease than I was expecting. Slow it down for this next corner. Still, the Mini is happy to go sideways. At least it is controllable, though, if it is going sideways without trying to snap on you and spin up across the next jump we go. I'll get on the brakes nice and early, trying to be as neat and tidy as I can. That is very, very difficult in a car like this. It doesn't really want to be neat and tidy. That much is for sure. I don't know what line that was. That was where the car... Pretty sure this car has got a mind of its own, or certainly half of a mind of its own. It really is just deciding where it wants to go, and I'm holding on for dear life and hoping that where it wants to go isn't into a tree. Although that tree there is looking suspiciously easy to hit. Oh, we're out wide here. This is not going to be good. I'm just going to have to lift and coast a little bit down that section as we try and get the Mini in a straight line for these jumps. Now, this is where things can go terribly wrong for the car, but it is across the first jump nicely. Put us in a good position for the second jump. Now, onto the brakes we go. Actually got the brakes a little early, forgetting just how good the brakes are on this vehicle. Slow it down for the final turn, and that's not quite worked. We've overrun the final corner ever so slightly. It's across the line. It's not quicker than the first run. I'm surprised, actually. 241.2, sorry, from the Mini. It's just too out of control for this course. Yeah, it's got lovely acceleration. It's got lovely acceleration indeed, but it hasn't got the control to go with it. I can't get the front end to turn into some of the corners and carry the speed, and then the back end does its own thing. It's, yeah, not particularly pleasant experience to drive. It didn't spin around on me in the way that I expected it to, or feared that it could do, which is a plus point, but yeah, it's just that bit too difficult to drive down this course. You can't be consistent with the car. You can't yeah, you can't carry the speed that a lot of the other vehicles have. Its time will put the Mini, well, it beats the Audi Quattro. It'll put the Mini into 16th place. It beats the Audi Quattro S1. However, it is down, a fair bit down, in fact, on the Lotus 340R, Rolls-Royce Wraith, Volvo 850R. You know, it's some 10 seconds down on the leader. Way too difficult to control that car. An interesting challenge, but yeah. Keep it to the tight, twisty stages without 700 horsepower would be my advice when it comes to the Mini. However, that is going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.